Hello and welcome to the Good Night Meditation. Today, let us experiment with the theme, the nostalgia of returning home. The nostalgia of returning home. We all have a home, and we all know the feeling which comes when we return back to our home. When we are away, we have gone away from our home, from our motherland, and when we come back, as if the journey that we were on is about to be over and we're about to reach home, and the flight is about to land or just lands, the feelings, the emotions, they carry the feeling of being nostalgic. And so, as spiritual beings, we realize that we have a spiritual home. As spiritual beings, we live in our spiritual home. And this physical dimension, this world is a playground where we have been enacting our roles for a long period of time. And so now is the time in meditation when we can experience the nostalgia of returning back to our home. Meditation is nothing but to experience that nostalgia. The memories, the feelings of going back to that silent, still world where as spiritual beings we used to once live in absolute bliss. With this realization also it becomes very clear that we are playing our roles on the stage of life, and we can see it as a journey. We realize we are guests. We realize this is not our home. And so as we unwind the day, let us experience this return journey and the feelings of being nostalgic about our home. So as we sit quietly, as we are ready to unwind our day, we realize that we are eternal spiritual beings. This physical world of masks and tasks is just a stage. As spiritual beings, there was a time when we descended on this physical stage. There is a dimension which is far beyond this physical dimension. It is our home of silence. As spiritual beings of light, we once used to live there. Not just by ourselves, but with a beautiful family. Family where we were all completely loved, completely respected, where all of us used to live together. There were no rules, there were no bodies, there were no responsibilities, just pure, silent bliss. And from there, once we landed onto the physical stage, We took upon these costumes called bodies, and we entered a role. This role had a name, had relationships, responsibilities, identities. But we realized that those are just identities based in the story. And now it's the time for I, the spiritual being, to remove these temporary labels, identities. And for some time, let me embark on the journey, return journey, back to my home. And as I experience going above and beyond, coming close to this dimension of this golden light filled with silence, experience the nostalgia. I remember this is where I used to live. I remember this is where I belong. I remember my family that loves me unconditionally. I remember my father, my spiritual parent, the divine, whose heart is filled with unconditional love for me. I'm completely accepted in this home. I've come back to my home. The story is over. I'm in my home, completely free. There's nothing to worry. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to be concerned about. I am myself. And as I look down below onto the physical stage, that's where is the story, the playground. I gently come down with this realization that I belong up there and I'm here temporarily as a guest in this story, in this body, in this role. Om Shanti.